welcome back to Are You Ready for Your Inspection podcast. I hope you are well. Hope the weather's good for you. The sun is shining. There is blue sky. Don't you just love blue sky? Anyway, digressing. Hope you're all good. How are we all doing? So, I've just recorded the love language podcast. Let me know what you think about it. Because yeah, I really love doing that one. Really love that one. Really passionate about it. Which is, yeah. Anyway, going back. So, what the podcast that I want to talk to you about today is display boards. And the reason I wanted to talk about display boards is because I wanted to maybe give you some top tips. What it is, on our website, we've got a number of free resources. So if you go on to www.jigsawyearsconsultancy.com, and in the top there's a thing that says free resources, and there are so many free resources that you can download. Absolutely free. So we were doing a top tips display board freebie because I thought that was really important to get that out to early years settings. So I thought as I was doing it, do you know what? I've not done a podcast on display boards. So what's the purpose of display boards? So display boards are all about showcasing what you're doing, what the children are doing in your setting. Okay, so you have a parent's notice board, but display boards normally in the rooms. Okay, one of the things I want you to be mindful of is the fact that if you are using, and I this is ingrained in my head from years and years ago, we used a staple gun to put up the display board, and one of the staples came out and a child picked up a staple, and we're talking many years ago. Boy oh boy, we never used a staple gun again. That was just, I remember that so clearly as a manager, and the toddler team coming to me and saying this was found, and I was absolutely mortified. So be mindful when you do your display boards on how you're putting things up. Okay, and you might say it never happens, Vanessa. Children will never get hold of a staple, but believe you me, they do. I've been there. They do. So top tips then. So thinking about it needs to be engaging, it needs to be relevant, and it needs to be really linked to learning intentions. So one way of doing it is actually having a display board of what you're focusing on for the children for that month maybe. And I know you're probably saying, well, actually we do in the moment planning, but you'll still have a focus of it. What is it that you're wanting the children to learn next? You can put that on a display board and do a journey of where they're going. So what is it that they've learnt, or what is it they need to learn, start off with, and then almost a roadmap of where they need to go to actually get to it, and how you're going to get to there, and what is the intention along the way. That is really visual. I've seen that in settings before where that is extremely visual, so much so that when you go out and do audits or an inspector goes out, you can actually show that visually, which is absolutely brilliant because you can see the journey that the children have got on from A to B and how you've got them through that. What activities, what are their interests. So basically making sure that your display board has a purpose that deals with their learning intentions. That's a really good top tip. Number 2 is make sure you involve the children. Always involve the children. And this is the other thing, is making sure that those display boards literally are down or lower, especially in the preschool room, for their level. And for some reason those display boards are put up high for displaying, and children are unable to see them. So if you think about in the baby room, for example, in the baby room you could have a display board that's down, which actually gives them a sense of belonging. So you could be doing photos of them with their families, and just laminate it and put it up on the display board so that actually children and young children and babies can see their families. That gives a sense of belonging. That I've seen that really good practice is that display board as well, and that's forever changing as well, because obviously you're also involving parents, so you're working in collaboration with parents, and it's really, yeah, that's really great, because babies, especially if you think about it, babies who are on their tummies or learning to crawl or pulling themselves up, it needs to be at their height so they could see their families, and it really, that's really impactful, really like that. Also, another one, a display board I've seen which is really, really good, is a sensory display board. So adding textures, scents, interaction features to engage those children. Now, we see those things on where you have those floor tiles on the floor, that's sensory. Well, actually, can you not put them on a display board so those children can actually access that? Thinking about those things on there. You can even get picture frames and make sure, super glue the picture frames down with a board at the back and put things on it for children to, and make sure there's not a choking hazard on them, but they can feel those things and textures. You know, you do those things with paint, don't you? And you put them in the bag, and you seal the bag, and that's sensory for mark making. You could do that also in a picture frame and put them on the wall as well for children. So thinking about the younger age group as well. For the older age group, having photo frames and picture frames for children to be able to display their own work. I've seen that as well, which is absolutely amazing. And children, it's almost like this flip chart picture frame that they've got, and children are sticking their pictures in and sealing them, and actually it's on show. What a great way of showcasing a child's work, all the children's work, gives them a sense of esteem, helps their self-worth, sense of belonging, and their confidence. That is just phenomenal, absolutely amazing. Making sure you rotate them regularly is another top tip, rather than leaving them, and actually making sure that you're using those children's interests. Now, for some of you might be listening to this and going, she's going to go talk about British values. Gone are the days now, and I'm seeing less and less of this, of British values display boards, and also birthday boards is another one as well. Why do we have British value boards and display boards? What do they have that children recognise in them? Okay, so often we have those boards, we have the birthday boards because it means that it reminds us as practitioners of when a child's birthday is, but could we not have that in a different area? Could we just not have that a reminder on our calendar, for example, and then so that display board is then free for children's work, free for photos of what you're putting for the children's family or children on the wall. So, and the other one is British values. I used to see that all of the time, where, you know, a Union Jack and things like that. But why are we doing that? What is the purpose of us doing that? We know about British values, we know about democracy, rule of law, you know, individual liberty, mutual respect and tolerance, and your inspector will want to see that in practice. They don't want to see it as a display board. They really don't. Making sure as well that actually, you know, is that learning display boards have a learning enrichment, so they're not just decorative, but they are educational. I've seen that one display, two I think it is, where I've seen a quality improvement plan in the foyer as a display board, which I loved, because that was the settings journey. So not only did they do a child's journey in the rooms, but they had a settings journey as well, was where their intention, so that's their target, their implementation, how they're going to get there, and a roadmap, and the impact that has had. That is such a good way of self-evaluating your setting and being reflective. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on display boards. You need to be making sure that they're always kept up to date. You need to make sure that there's no health and safety hazards or risks for children to take or use or find, because they will find. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one. So those are my top tips for display boards. I hope I've given you some ideas of really good practice that I've seen when we've gone out and done our audits. In the show notes, there is a free download on our website. Anthony will put the link in the show notes, or Top Tips Display Boards is under our resources under our website. Again, if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Remember to like or subscribe. That really helps. In fact, that's Louise's baby's YouTube, and it's going up and up and up, and she loves that. Whereas podcasts are Anthony's, and they are going up and up and up. And also, subscribe so you know when the next one comes out. Hopefully you're enjoying the trailers that are coming out, because they are causing a lot of giggles of what's going on in our studio. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you next week. Take good care.